Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Gemini April 2022 predictions and forecasts. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and for the subscribers, you know it's always great to see you. Truly, I love to see you each month. I really do. Please send me some comments so I can get to speak with more of you. And of course, I've done one-on-one personal readings for many Geminis over the last month, and there is the information's in the description box below if that's of interest to you. And that's from anywhere in the world. Now, let's see what there is in store for you. We're going to have a bit of a Hindu god and mythology theme this month, because that's just what I feel like doing, and I think you are going to enjoy it. There is the Two of Lotuses. Can you imagine what a lotus might be? Well, you'll see it in just a second. There is Judgment. What's down here? I love this stuff. Oh, there's the King of Staves. Do you know, Hindu mythology is extremely fascinating, being thousands of years old. As you know, Two of Discs. And what's the final card for us to have? I've been a student of it for many, many years, along with Hinduism. I mean, I'm not a Hindu, but I deeply appreciate the spirituality of Hinduism and the sort of the avatar representations of the one god that appears in the forms of the other gods, such as in the triumvirate, such as Shiva, say, for example, or Vishnu. And there's the Knight of Arrows and their respective wives. So why don't you come now, sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Then I'm sure you can see those. Let's have a look first at the Judgment, given that it is Major Arcana after all, so we should give it the appropriate respect of the reading up first. Now, what an interesting depiction here, because the Judgment is, strictly speaking, Judgment Day, Armageddon, where the forces of decay and evil are routed by the aroused ranks of the spiritual. Now, in Indian mythology, the event is called the Pralaya, the dissolution. Vishnu, who is that incarnation or manifestation of God, which is the preserving aspect of the universe, he takes his 10th and most powerful avatar, that of Kalki, to preside over this most significant of battles. This time we live in is deemed the worst age of man, the dark Kali Yoga. When it ends a long time in the future, as prophesized, human civilization and culture will have come to a breaking point. The whole enterprise will either go under in a cataclysm of greed and violence, or Kalki will lead the forces of good to a decisive strike in the cause of right and the light. Where we stand at this pivotal stage in destiny depends on our karmic inclination. There will be no time to choose when you see Kalki thundering in upon his white horse. The choice has to be made right now. In every action you take, in every temptation resisted or pandered to, in every decent thought you value and stand fast by, rejecting the seductive pull of the comfortable compromise. Now, I think that this speaks of a decision that is going to be made by you at this time, which is going to have a major impact on your life. See, I'm getting the planet Pluto around here. This is a long-term event. This change, this impact, is positive, though, but it may not seem like it's a major decision, or a decision which has a major impact at the time you take it. Now, it could just be a lifestyle choice, or it could also be a job. It may be the way that you decide to beautify any gardens or the living arrangements that you have. It's time to move on after seeing the bigger picture. take time out to see the big picture. And I think that this is a natural period of growth and shedding of things and people which no longer serve you. Now, when I say shedding of people, I don't mean that in a bad way. You just know yourself, don't you, that as you grow and mature, some people don't keep up, don't stay in sync with you. Well, I think that this might be a time when some of those people are let go, because you will be highly discriminating or discerning. And funnily enough, I think you'll be quite open to criticism. You will also, I think, have a critical self-analysis at play here. There's certainly a great degree of resolution around you at the moment. Closure, definitive action. That's the energy that's coming up. Now you are being challenged to drop your worm's eye view, to see things from a higher plane when you have recognized greater time spans and other contexts, which you are increasingly ready to do, by the way. You will then tend more and more to observe things in their beingness, to see free from evaluations. Meditate maybe on the following statement. One sign of ignorance is indicated by some belief in injustice and unhappiness. Ask yourself this question. Which methods will you use to gain a deeper insight and greater wisdom? And say this to yourself. I observe people and situations objectively and fairly. I value the combination of my qualities and characteristics. I honor the unlimited well of creativity within me to express in family and career settings. God is the unknown, the mysterious. The more I know that I don't know, the closer I am to the divine. Well, what shall we go to next? I think we might have a look at this Two of Discs. I think it is down here. Is that right? What's going on here? Okay. Let's have a look at it. Now, let me give you the back story to this. This is really about a secluded youth, I suppose. Now, the noble sage Asita had wept when he beheld the baby. To the anxious king Sudahana, he explained that he, the sage, was bewailing his own misfortune, for he would not live to see the prince perform his mighty deeds either as a great king or a world saviour. Now the royal parent was most displeased at this spiritual option being repeatedly assigned to his prince, and he embarked upon an experiment that in a sense is chilling to contemplate even after a couple of thousand years. He decreed that a magnificent walled city be created and the prince grow up in it, secluded from all pain, suffering, and misery. Even the knowledge that such things exist was forbidden. He also kept the young man in a suffocating embrace of never-ceasing pleasure and amusements. The king took care to arrange his education in all matters political and military. And maybe that's the only thing that really saved the boy, because to many people he was thought to be, well, not effeminate, but effete and lacking in character. Now, the astrology that applies to this energy that's coming through here for you is that of Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn, that 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. Now, Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter and Capricorn together, though, that's potentially inharmonious, isn't it? Because Jupiter is all about expansion, and Capricorn is all about conservatism and practicality. But, do you know, this is the 2, and this high up on the tree, we only have the ace ahead of us. I think that everything is going to work out okay. But this is talking about change in your life and transformation. But that is also what the Judgment card was talking about as well. Jupiter, the planet symbolizing luck and expansion, indicates that this change coming around in your life will bring luck and enrich life. And the new will bring more stability and security. That's the Capricorn aspect. So that's a good thing to know. You know, change is always necessary when the old falls out of equilibrium. Changes shake you and wake you up. Now, sometimes you know you have to learn to go with the flow in your life and trust in this process of change so that you might find harmony and balance. Now, constant changes in fortune can make things difficult to get off the ground if you're in a new business, but there's nothing financially or materially set in stone at the moment. So there's a great degree of harmony here. There's no danger around you materially. But this does remind you to make sure that your day-to-day affairs are in order. This is also an energy of good management of your practical affairs and finances in your personal life. Now, I know it might sound like a bummer, but getting on top of bills and chores is as important as pursuing more enjoyable activities. Do you know, your life is subject to a constant change which allows you to grow, extending and expanding you, ultimately enriching you. Give yourself up to the transformation with trust. What internal or external changes are going on in your life? Where are you still clinging? Say this to yourself at this time. I trust in the harmony of my life and in the flow of my life. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Now we might have a look at who I assume here is Parvati. Yes, this is the destiny of Parvati. Now, what has that got to say, I hear you ask? Well, it has to say this. First of all, Narada, that's this guy here, he was a great celestial sage, and he had come to visit Himavan, who was the divine personification of the Himalaya mountains. And the Himalayas were the abode of Shiva. Now, Shiva, as you may recall, is the third part of the Hindu Trinity, where Brahma is the creator god, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, that of change, renewal, destruction, growth, what have you. Now, this young woman has come down before and is prostrating herself before this wise gentleman because she is herself the daughter of the mountain. And she has, however, been somewhat ashamed of her family background. But the sage here pronounces to her and proclaims that her destiny is an awesome one, and that is, her destiny is to marry Shiva himself. This proclamation in this situation is actually a sort of a spiritual initiation. Now, the astrology of this energy here, where it is placed above that 2 of discs, is that of Venus in the first decan of Cancer, 21st of June to the 1st of July. Now, this exemplifies the benefit of you having drawn this card because Venus is the most receptive of planets, has much to do, among other things, with love, beauty, creativity, and relationship. And Venus in the first decan of Cancer, well, Cancer is the most maternal of the signs, nurturing, comforting, supporting, and healing. This is speaking to you of receptive love, happy relationships, and emotional exchange. There is really here close bonds, a togetherness, love, harmony, a relationship that is strengthening, and mutual love and respect. Do you know, if you love yourself, you are attractive to others. Your receptiveness towards yourself prepares you to give yourself totally to someone else. A deep emotional exchange will therefore be possible, a giving and receiving of overflowing love. The union occurs in complete harmony, as is symbolized by the balanced, beautiful energy of this image. Now, it has got to be said that it's impossible to say that there is not a marriage around, so you will hear of marriage or of people cohabiting with each other. There is certainly, I think, the beginning of a harmonious relationship, and now it doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be a business relationship. It could be one with a customer or with a supplier, or it could be a close friendship. You will be able to access universal love if you practice meditation. But there is a love here that is both special and equal, and you'll be able to give and receive love in equal measure. With which persons and with which surroundings can you now share your love? Pay attention to the love coming to you now. Remain open and let it enter into you and go deep inside. And remember, the first stage of a successful love relationship is to love yourself, because then you know the value of what it is that you are offering to somebody else, and you can assess the value of what is being offered in return to you. So love yourself and say to yourself now, there is nothing to do but enjoy what life offers. I am now ready to let into my life the love relationships which fulfill me. Well, shall we have a look to see what is at the center of the spread? Let's have a look at this King of Staves. Hello, King of Staves. Otherwise known as Wands, of course. Yeah, here you go. Are you in shot? Good man. Well, fire is the blood of the cosmos, the spiritual breath of life. Agni, Vedic god of fire, is the link between humans and the divine, transforming alchemist who sears the dross veil of matter and releases the embodied Jivma, that is the individual soul. He is the God who carries offerings up to heaven, the active principle of all sacrifice, cosmic harmony. Now, he is a friend of gods and men, the fiery stairway between worlds, that is, between levels of consciousness, represented by his two faces, gazing upon the mortal and the divine planes of existence. His vehicle, the ram, symbolizes his unconquerable determination and his strength. Now, I really do think that Sagittarius and Scorpio are likely to be important to you at this time. This is, that's really that fire I'm getting, but there's an intensive here as well. I think what this is saying is that you're going to be quite active during this period, generous, maybe impetuous at time. I think you'll have a degree of pride with you, and you'll be quick about how you go about things. And other people may even say to yourself, gee, I never expected the action that she was going to take there, or that he was going to take. And there's almost like something of a fierceness around you. I might also say that you could well find that there are some changes going on around you at this period which are quite revolutionary, quite major. But you should remain cool, collected, resolute, and energetic, and be careful of the actions you take. Don't do anything that hasn't been well thought out, but go forward with an alert confidence in your ability. This is a time, I think, where I'm getting that Sagittarian motion with that Scorpio intensity with it as well. This really symbolizes the mastery of growth and inner development. There is a dynamic forward motion for you here, and increased insight, and of course coming changes, but we saw that before down here, didn't we? Energetic and ambitious you'll be, adventurous, determined, and you'll be very charming. And I'll say this to you, that you will have a degree of attraction and magnetism that is going to be very difficult to resist. So, put your seatbelt on and settle in for the ride. There's also the feeling here that you may be having a desire to maybe think about ways where you can make money from interests that you have. This is a time for you to now find your vitality, trust your gut instinct, let your hair down, give yourself a pep talk, and believe that you can do it. Do you know, you should be awake, ready for people or situations which could produce dynamic changes in your consciousness. Be grateful for this gift from existence. Receive it and don't cling to it. Now, does your present situation allow your energies to develop and unfold fully? If not, what must be removed or changed? Seek out situations and opportunities that challenge you and engage them with all of your energy. And say this to yourself: every challenge which arises helps me grow. Every storm strengthens my roots. That leaves us finally, I think it is finally, isn't it? Let's have a look here. I think so, with this energy. And what do we have here? Okay, well, Hanuman, the son of the wind god. Now, as a young boy, he was a holy terror, but he grew up to become the exemplar of self-restraint, wisdom, and sensible application of strength. He has supreme supernatural powers, but his greatest asset is his intellect, just like you. He is the ideal devotee of Rama, eternally celibate and immortal. Now, Hanuman is an incarnation of Shiva in his Rudra aspect. Storms and lightning herald his approach to mortal eyes. Now, he is not a monkey, but a Nar, a mythical race with simian attributes belonging to a superior culture and civilization. Now, Hanuman is worshipped as the savior from troubles, knowing fully well the problems that the whims and willfulness of people can get other people into, even ourselves. Hanuman compassionately forgives and aids humans. Now, what are some of the symbols that he has around here? The flag of victory signifies his invincibility. The arrow, his unerring and penetrative insight into all situations. The axe compassionately cuts away the tree of delusion. Now, that conch that you can see in his hand there, that represents prana, the vital breath which he has mastered. The flower that you see is the self surrendered at the feet of God. And one hand is hidden, as we may never presume to know all about immortal beings. Now, there's no doubt that following on from that other king of fire that we just saw there, that you will be actually going to be very intellectual during this period, full of ideas and plans, very clever, but just make sure you remain stable. Now, you might even find that you can become quite domineering or bossy even during this period. I don't say anything about that. I just mention it. You may be impressionable too, so don't take things at first sight, but make sure that you do everything in a well-researched basis. Be careful also of not ensuring that one idea that you have tumbles over another idea, tumbling over another idea, so that you give up each idea as you get the next one on the basis that any one of them is just as good as any of the others. That would be a mistake for you. Lots of creative thinking, cutting through all entanglements, becoming free of limited ideas and models, and you'll have clear perception. Yes, as I say, my concern is that you'll be very good at creating ideas quickly, but you'll move on without developing them. Your intellect will be quite draining to others who somehow or other probably will find that it's difficult to keep up for you. You'll be independent, maybe quite private during this period, and difficult to get to know. And some people might even, as a result of that, think that you lack emotional warmth and empathy, but that's not the case. But this can also indicate, I think, the need to slow down and analyze your thoughts to see if something practical can be gained from them. Free yourself from whatever limits your mind and spirit, but be sure you express your ideas and plans in ways that other people will understand. Accept their opinions humbly. Your thinking may well be ahead of its time, but you can adjust to make your vision workable in the present without sacrificing anything. But ask yourself, what beliefs, feelings, relationships, and programmed ideas do you allow to limit yourself? Say this to yourself: my creative possibilities have no limits, but I need to ensure that they are grounded. And you'll be doing that for sure. That is the way it is for you this
Well,
month.
thanks for joining me. It's been really great to see you, and I loved sitting down with you and doing that reading for you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed providing it to you. And isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting, all that stuff? Well, remember one thing, of course, and that is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.